Spirit warriors, have you ever walked into a room and felt the energy shift, like people could sense your power before you said a word? Why do most people hate the chosen ones? What is it about your light that brings out their darkness? A young girl named Zaria lived there. She never fit in. She wasn't rebellious or loud. She was kind, observant, and unshakably different. She loved deeply, prayed in silence, and carried wisdom far beyond her years. But the more she walked in her truth, the more isolated she became. The kids mocked her peace. The adults questioned her quiet confidence. Zaria didn't do anything to them. She just was. And that alone was enough to stir up jealousy, suspicion, even hate. Sound familiar, chosen one? Most people don't hate the chosen ones because of what you do. They hate you because of who you are. Your very existence reminds them of what they're not ready to become. But here's the real mystery. Why do people get so triggered by someone who radiates love, light, and truth? What if I told you it's all part of your assignment, that the hate you face is spiritual confirmation of your purpose? As Marianne Williamson said, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Chosen ones, you're not hated because you're broken. You're hated because you're whole. Stay with me till the end of this video, because I'm going to break down 7 deep spiritual reasons why most people can't stand your light, and how this awareness can elevate your journey. You'll laugh, reflect, feel seen, and most importantly, you'll stay awake in a world that wants you spiritually asleep. Let's get into it. Number 1. Your presence exposes their pretending. You don't even have to say a word. Just your presence is enough to stir the room. Why? Because authenticity is rare in a world addicted to appearances. When you walk in, you bring something most people spend their whole lives trying to imitate: truth. You're not wearing a mask. You're not auditioning for approval or curating your identity for applause. You're just you, and that shakes people to their core. Because when someone is rooted in truth, anyone hiding behind pretense starts to feel seen, and not in the comforting way. Your energy forces others to confront parts of themselves they've been avoiding. Psychologically speaking, this is a phenomenon called social comparison theory, a concept introduced by psychologist Leon Festinger. It explains how people evaluate themselves based on how they stack up against others. When someone who is confident, authentic, and emotionally grounded walks into a room, it subconsciously challenges the self-perception of those who rely on external validation or deception. It's not that you're trying to call them out. You just being you exposes the fact that they aren't being them. It creates a kind of existential discomfort, because deep down, we all crave the freedom to be ourselves. But not everyone is ready to pay the price for that freedom. You love with intention, not agenda. You connect with depth, not convenience. And in a world full of shallow performance, that's threatening. Because if your love is real, then theirs might not be. If your motives are pure, then theirs might be tainted. You don't chase clout, and you don't need applause to know your worth. That kind of inner power makes those who perform for attention feel invisible. And nothing terrifies a mask wearer more than being seen for who they really are. But here's the twist. It's not your job to shrink so others can feel tall. Your presence is not a threat, it's a mirror. And while mirrors can be uncomfortable, they're also necessary. Some people will walk away. Others will take off their masks. Either way, you don't have to change a thing. Keep walking in truth, keep showing up with love and intention, and keep letting your light shine. Because authenticity isn't just uncomfortable, it's revolutionary. Number 2. You trigger their unhealed wounds. Your light, your growth, your peace, your radiance can be both a blessing and a trigger to those around you. See, when you've done the inner work, faced your shadow, cried the necessary tears, broke unhealthy cycles, and started walking in authenticity, you naturally exude a sense of clarity and calm. But here's the twist. Not everyone is ready to see themselves reflected in that light. Your healing doesn't just inspire, it exposes. And for those still running from their childhood wounds, buried traumas, and generational curses, your presence can feel like a spotlight on everything they've refused to confront. Psychologically, this reaction is rooted in something called projection. Sigmund Freud introduced the idea that people project parts of themselves, usually the parts they suppress or deny, onto others. So when someone who hasn't done their healing meets someone who has, it stirs a storm within. They don't consciously hate your joy, your boundaries, or your peace. What they resent is what it reminds them of, their own avoidance. Instead of turning inward and doing the work, it's easier for them to resent the mirror you've become. Spiritually, your evolution disrupts the familiar energy of old dynamics. Maybe you were once the people-pleaser, the fixer, or the one who tolerated disrespect just to keep the peace. Now that you've shifted, you no longer engage in dysfunction. You don't react the same. You don't chase validation. You don't play games. That change doesn't sit well with those who benefited from your brokenness. You've essentially rewritten the rules of engagement, and that forces others to face themselves, something many are not prepared to do. But don't dim your light to make others feel comfortable. Your healing isn't meant to be hidden. It's meant to be a lighthouse, strong, visible, and unapologetic. Yes, some will walk away, gossip, roll their eyes, or accuse you of being too much. Let them. Their reaction is not your responsibility. As Carl Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. You've made the unconscious conscious. You've reclaimed your life. And now, just by being you, you're calling others to do the same, even if it makes them uncomfortable. Keep shining. You're not just healing yourself, you're shaking up entire bloodlines. Number 3, you refuse to conform. Chosen ones don't fit in. We were born to stand out. Let's get one thing straight. Chosen ones don't try to be different. We just are. It's not rebellion for attention or some edgy act of defiance. It's spiritual DNA. From the time we were young, the world felt different. While others blended in with ease, we felt like outliers, lone wolves howling at a moon no one else seemed to see. But here's the truth. Our souls were never designed to shrink. We weren't made to follow trends, nod along in silence, or swallow lies just to make others comfortable. That quiet discomfort we feel in ordinary spaces. That's the soul remembering its divine assignment. When society shouts, "Sit down, be quiet, stay in line," the chosen one's spirit rises, not to cause trouble, but because submission to a false identity would be the real betrayal. This resistance to conformity isn't arrogance, it's alignment. It's a deep knowing that our value doesn't come from fitting in. It comes from showing up as our authentic, powerful, unapologetic selves. That kind of presence shakes rooms, shifts energies, and yes, threatens systems built on uniformity and control. Throughout history, nonconformists have always faced opposition. Think of Harriet Tubman, who didn't just escape slavery but led others to freedom, or Nikola Tesla, whose ideas were too advanced for his time. They were mocked, doubted, even sabotaged, yet they never shrank. Why? Because the call was louder than the criticism. The mission was greater than the need for approval. Modern psychology backs this up too. People who resist conformity tend to score higher in creative thinking and moral courage. It takes serious inner strength to walk your own path when the crowd's going the other way. But chosen ones don't just walk it, they blaze it. That's why systems built on fear, control, and sameness find us dangerous. We're not playing their game, we're building a new one. So, if you felt like the odd one out, the misfit, the one who never quite belonged, good. That means you're not here to blend in, you're here to wake people up. You're here to stretch souls, you're here to rise, not shrink. And while your light may be too much for some, it's exactly what the world needs right now. Keep shining, chosen one. You were born to stand out, for a reason. Number 4, you radiate an energy. Let's be real. There's something about you that people can't quite put their finger on. You walk into a room without saying a word, and yet heads turn, eyes follow, conversations pause, not because you're trying to command attention, but because your aura speaks louder than your voice ever could. That's the unexplainable presence of a spirit warrior. It's not about fashion, volume, or flashy status. It's energy, it's frequency, and not everyone is tuned in. Spirit warriors carry a vibration that isn't from this world. It's higher, purer, sharper. It slices right through facades and penetrates the superficial layers people wear like armor. That's why some folks feel uneasy around you. Their mouth may smile, but their soul feels threatened, not by your actions, but by the mirror your energy holds up to their true selves. It's like walking into a room with an X-ray machine. You don't have to say a thing. Your presence reveals what's hidden, and that's terrifying for those living behind masks. Your energy repels the fake not because you're judgmental, but because your spirit operates on a no-nonsense frequency. Inauthenticity can't breathe in your presence. Drama, manipulation, and low-vibrational chaos, they suffocate when they come near you. And it's not that you're trying to push people away. It's just that your light exposes their shadows. That exposure either pushes them to grow or run. On the flip side, your energy attracts the divine. Children, animals, old souls, and spiritual beings naturally gravitate toward you. Why? Because they recognize that you're a beacon, a walking lighthouse in a foggy world. Your vibration calls in those on the same path. Healers, truth seekers, empaths, visionaries, the ones who don't just hear your silence, but feel it like a song. And here's the kicker. Science backs this up. Studies in quantum physics show that everything is energy, and humans emit electromagnetic fields from the heart and brain. Those fields communicate with the world before we ever open our mouths. So yes, your vibe literally speaks for you. So if people are uncomfortable around you without reason, don't shrink to fit their comfort. You're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to awaken, protect, and walk with purpose. Keep shining, spirit warrior. Your aura was never meant to whisper, it was born to roar. Number 5. You have an unshakable peace. When storms come, most people scatter. Fear takes over, panic spreads like wildfire, and the energy shifts into chaos. But you pray. You don't raise your voice. You raise your faith. While the world clutches at quick fixes and spirals into anxiety, you retreat into quiet confidence, whispering words that move mountains. And that right there is what confuses the enemy. See, the enemy thrives in confusion and emotional instability. When everything is falling apart, the enemy expects you to fall apart too. But instead of reacting, you reflect. Instead of losing control, you lean into something deeper, your spiritual anchor. That calmness you carry, it's not naivety, it's spiritual intelligence. It's the unwavering understanding that God is greater than the storm. It's knowing that the wind and waves still obey the voice of the one you pray to. And this calm, this stillness drives people mad, not because they don't want peace, but because they don't understand how you have it. Your spiritual strength acts like a mirror, exposing what others are missing inside themselves. In psychology, this is called emotional contrast. When someone sees your stability in their chaos, it amplifies their own turmoil. It triggers something deeper in them, not anger at you, but frustration with themselves. They ask, why can't I stay that calm? What does this person know that I don't? And here's the truth, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Your peace doesn't come from circumstances aligning perfectly, it comes from alignment with the divine. When your soul is centered, external storms don't shake you. It's the same reason soldiers train their minds to stay composed under fire. Calmness is power. And spiritually speaking, calmness is also revelation. It means you're tapped into a higher wisdom, a greater force. You've seen what God can do, so why would a little thunder shake you now? Let them underestimate you. Let them misread your stillness as weakness. Because while they're shouting and scrambling, you're aligning with grace. And that grace? It lifts you above the noise. Your peace is not passive, it's a weapon, it's your testimony in motion. And when the dust settles, you're still standing, not because you fought harder, but because you trusted deeper. Number 6, you shine without trying. In a world obsessed with image, validation, and virtual approval, it's easy to get caught up in the idea that success needs to be loud, filtered, and applauded. But here's the truth that quietly shakes the room. You don't need clout, filters, or applause to prove your worth. Your shine is internal, and it comes from something much deeper than the surface-level approval that social media thrives on. It's not about how many followers you have, how curated your selfies are, or how many people cheer you on. It's about your authenticity, your purpose, and the quiet fire within you that doesn't beg for attention but naturally commands respect. That kind of inner radiance. It offends people, especially those who've spent years perfecting an image, seeking likes, performing success rather than embodying it. See, when your confidence isn't sourced from the outside world, it's disruptive. It challenges the narrative that you need to chase trends, show off, or be part of the in crowd to be relevant. You become a mirror, reflecting back the artificial nature of their validation. And it's uncomfortable for them. Not because you're doing too much, but because you're doing just enough. You walk in quiet purpose. You're not trying to be seen. You're just being, and that being is powerful. Psychologically, this aligns with the concept of intrinsic motivation, when your drive comes from within, not external rewards. Studies in behavioral science show that people who are intrinsically motivated tend to be more satisfied, more consistent, and more fulfilled than those who seek extrinsic rewards like fame or approval. That's your lane. You're not running for a trophy. You are the trophy. And that confuses people who only know how to perform. While they're calculating their next move to stay visible, you're cultivating your next move to stay valuable. And make no mistake, value lasts longer than visibility. Clout fades, filters glitch, applause dies down. But purpose? Purpose sustains. That natural glow, the one they can't replicate or explain, is divine. It's not manufactured and it's not for sale. It's the byproduct of alignment, truth, and real confidence. So don't shrink to make others comfortable. Let your light offend those who worship the spotlight. Keep walking with purpose. They'll eventually realize performance was never the real flex. Number 7. You're chosen and they know it. Some people just know. They can't explain it. They might not even be aware of it consciously. But something about you unnerves them. It's not your clothes, your success, or even your confidence. It's the divine energy you carry. It's the fact that you walk into a room and without saying a word, the atmosphere shifts. You're not loud, but you're felt. You're not showing off, yet you shine. And that divine presence, that spiritual authority, often triggers something deep in others, especially in those who have yet to awaken to their own light. Spirit warriors, listen closely. When people envy you, talk behind your back, or give you side eyes dripping with jealousy, it's not always personal. It's spiritual. What they're reacting to isn't your personality, it's your purpose. Your aura reminds them of what they haven't tapped into yet. Your confidence, your resilience, your peace in the midst of chaos. It all screams of a higher calling. That unnerves people who are still running from their own growth. Your very existence holds up a mirror to their complacency, and sometimes that reflection is too much to bear. But here's the truth. Their hate is proof of your calling. It's spiritual confirmation. In the Bible, Joseph's brothers hated him because he had dreams that set him apart. David was mocked before he became king. Even Jesus was crucified by the very people he came to save. Being chosen often comes with being misunderstood, ridiculed, or resented. But that doesn't make your calling any less divine. It makes it more obvious. What's fascinating is that neuroscience backs this up too. The human brain is wired to compare. When people see someone doing something extraordinary, it can trigger feelings of inadequacy. Instead of inspiring them to rise, some choose to resent. It's not right, but it's real. And if you're not careful, you'll internalize their envy as a reason to shrink. Don't. Spirit warriors don't shrink, they rise. So next time someone throws shade, smile. They see it too. The anointing, the strength, the fire in you. You don't need their approval to walk in your purpose. You were never meant to fit in. You were born to stand out. And if their envy is loud, let your purpose be louder. Let your life be the evidence of what God placed inside of you. Spirit warriors, listen closely. Being hated is not a curse. It's a crown. The world resists what it doesn't understand, and the chosen ones were never meant to be understood by the crowd. So keep shining, keep healing, and keep walking in divine power. You were not born to fit in. You were born to break cycles, to awaken others, to shake the atmosphere. Let them talk. Let them mock. Let them hate. Because at the end of the day, the hate you receive is only proof of the heaven within you. Stay awake, stay aligned, and never forget, you are chosen.